Now we are back here in Le Mans, and as you see, the weather has changed. It's raining right now. We see a very exciting first race here with Jochen Hahn, his second win in this season. Now we have reverse grid, and on the pole position we have Steffen Faas. And now your commentators, Jazz and Evie, have fun.
Well, thank you very much, Chris, and hopefully you can find enough shelter during this race to avoid the rain. But yes, hello everybody, I am Chaz Draycott, your English commentator for the 2021 European Truck Racing Championship. And you can hear all of the horns being sounded at the moment. But yes, as you can see, the weather has turned somewhat British in the break between these two races. Now, Norbert Kish did mention that it was getting a little bit slippier on the circuit earlier on. I don't quite think that he would have had this in mind, but you can see a slightly drying line with a lot of standing water, umbrellas at the plenty trackside as well. But we have a very exciting encounter lined up for you right now. Now, Chris did mention the reverse grid, of course, which we have to take into consideration for this one. So basically, the top 8 from the first race result gets flipped on its head, which will mean that pole position, also as Chris mentioned, goes the way of Steffen Faas. That means Jamie Anderson joins him on the front row of the grid. Then it's Shane Brereton and Adam Lachko, who is the highest of the sort of championship protagonists on the grid for this one. So we'll have to keep an eye out on him. He's, of course, got the top 4 from that first race behind him. Luke Garrett will be a bit further down in 9th. Here is Jamie Anderson taking his place on the front row of the grid. You can see our official Ford F-Max and the pace truck, the Iveco S-Way, also out there in the rain as well. You can hear trucks making their way around the circuit as well. That fantastic sound. Humongous turbo whistles. And there is Heinrich Clemens Hecker. Broke a spring before qualifying, which meant that he wasn't able to get out and set a time, unfortunately. And then his race wasn't the smoothest of encounters either, to be honest with you. So he's going to be hoping for a bit more from the second race of the day. Obviously the final race of the day as well for these guys. We'll have 2 more races again tomorrow, and of course qualifying and Super Pole to go with it. Heinrich Clemens Hecker will line up 12th on the grid. I said earlier it was obviously the smallest grid that we'd had all season, with having 12 trucks in the field. But now we are back to 14. Rene Reiner is going to join us for the second race of the day. He had a 1-race ban after an incident at Zolder. So good to have Rene back with us. There is Jochen Hahn. Of course, race 1 winner will be starting from 8th on the grid. And Norbert Kish, after a bit of a difficult day so far, takes his place on the grid. He's going to be starting just in front of Jochen Hahn in 6th place. And you can see the weather isn't really improving. It's not really going anywhere, to be honest with you. And Rene Reiner did a second sort of installation lap for his truck after the green flag. So he's taking the truck through the pit lane on his way back around. And we're having the pit exit close in 5 minutes. So we're going to have a little delay before the race gets underway. But just to remind you of the earlier race result, Jochen Hahn taking a lights to flag victory in fantastic fashion ahead of Antonio Albacete and Norbert Kish. Sasser Lenz finished in 4th with Adam Lachko quite a while back in 5th place. I think it was a good 17 seconds back. Shane Brereton put some good pressure on Adam. And then we had Jamie Anderson after Steffen Faas got a penalty and dropped to 8th position. But that did mean that he has pole position for this race. You can see final preparations being made now by the teams. Tyre pressures and all sorts being checked right now. It's all down to the finest of details. Speaking of finest details, I'm not sure if our cameraman will be able to see this right now. Ah, there you go. So the red stripe on the truck, Le Mans, it's actually got the date of the event. I'm pretty sure that the Goodyear Racing team have the sort of name of each round or which circuit or area they're going to and the date on each of their trucks every single time. It's a very, very interesting little detail. There it is. And there you go. Lovely little detail. I spotted it during qualifying just while our cameras were roaming around beforehand. But I thought I saw it at Zolder in some of the pictures. But there you go. That confirms it. That's great to see. It's almost like when football teams have the fixtures under their sort of their crest or their badge in special tournaments. And the 10-minute board will be held up at 5:39 local time. That's in 3 minutes' time now. So the weather obviously not helping people out here, but they raced in similar conditions at Zolder, let's not forget. It was a fantastic wet race there with trucks sideways all over the place. And I mean, any normal racing cars aren't easy to race in the wet, never mind massive trucks like these. Nearly 5.5 tons minimum weight. Over 3 tons of that weighed at the front axle. But you can see that the fans are still out in force. And Chris is down there with Adam Lachko that we were just looking at.
Yeah, Adam, this is your weather. It's raining. What are your expectations now?
It's nice. It started raining, but now it's a little bit stopped. But I hope it's again start because I like the rain we see in the Zolder, and I hope maybe I do same like in Zolder.
So what are the expectations? What do you think you can achieve here?
The first 2 laps we go under the yellow because it's a wet start, and after I try push maximum but safely, and I try go to the front.
Okay, so you're begging for more rain and have a safe ride. Thank you. That was Adam.
Thanks very much, Chris. And yep, Adam is a real star in the wet conditions. As he pointed out to us, it's going to be a yellow flag start. So basically they're going to be behind the pace truck and have a slow lap first time round and then crack on with it when they cross the line. You can hear horns and everything still being sounded in the background. A great buzz around this paddock all of the time. And interestingly, all of the doors being held open on these trucks at the moment just to make sure that none of it steams up inside, because we've seen that before. And it can be a real nightmare for these drivers not to be able to see. Can ruin races and can, of course, put other drivers' races and their machines at risk. But it is great to see the fans and personnel back out in force as well, everybody there. There's René Rayner in the 77 truck, the blue machine on the right-hand side. There is the 10-minute board, bang on time at 5:39 local. And we're on board with Jamie there, just looking forward at the potential run down to the first corner. That marshal's arms will be killing him soon. There you go. But now there's this anticipation by the teams and the drivers, everybody just preparing the fine details like I mentioned. Just getting ready for what could potentially happen here, because certain drivers, as we've seen before, are really good in the wet conditions. It's a completely different bag of talent to what you usually get with dry weather racing. It's a real level playing field because most racing is carried out in dry conditions. But when it rains, certain drivers have different understandings of just how it all works and how the truck behaves, how the track develops, how the tyres are feeling. And Chris is down there with another interview for us as the rain starts to come down again.
Yeah, we are here at the truck from Steffen Fahr's pole position. What does the change of the weather mean for you?
Ja, das Wetter ist jetzt nicht das Ideale für mich, aber ich bin hier noch nie im Regen gefahren. Aber Wir schauen mal, was wir draus machen können. Ja, die erste Runde wird natürlich interessant werden. Es steht wirklich überall Wasser, habe ich gerade gesehen. Es wird, denke ich, sehr rutschig. Ja. Ich versuche einfach, mein Fahrzeug so auf der Strecke zu halten, dass man einfach durch.
He says we're very slippery. There's a lot of water on the race track, and he says it's the first time that he races here under these conditions in Le Mans. And he says the main or the most important thing will be that he keeps his truck on the race course. Back to you.
Yes, indeed, that's it. To finish first you must finish, as the old phrase goes. And it's not easy to finish in conditions like this. Like I mentioned before, it's not easy to race normal racing cars in these conditions, but never mind 5-ton trucks. These things are very momentum-based and you have to be so careful. But these drivers are the perfect people for the job. They know exactly what they're doing, and they know exactly how their machines will respond to them. So by the look of it at the moment, we are still going to get our race, albeit under wet conditions. There's Norbert Kish and his crew, all stood around like security at a nightclub, really, not letting anybody near Norby as he sort of meditates and prepares in the moments before the race. Fantastic looking truck though, that MAN. I love the livery on the Reveish Racing Team truck. They also run drivers in, I believe, a Formula 4 series elsewhere around Europe. I believe it might be the Italian Formula 4 Championship. But I've seen the Reveish Racing name before. Not quite the same striking livery, but then again, Formula 4 cars and any Formula car doesn't really have the same sort of real estate to put a nice livery on compared to these massive trucks that we get. I love the fact that the livery slightly comes over the windows as well, but not in a way that blocks his view. And that is the view forward from Norbert Kish. You can see a lot of rain settling on the front windscreen. And René Rayner is ready for an interview with Chris.
Yeah, René, the first race you didn't participate because you have been banned. What are your thoughts now? Right now, I've seen you were going through the pit lane. What are your thoughts before this race, and especially also to the weather?
Yeah, we hope that will be dry, the race, you know, and then it's much more easier from the last position, fight for a good position. But in the rain, it's always difficult because we start under yellow, I guess, and then we have at least one lap, maybe 2 laps under yellow, and then you have already a big gap to the fast trucks in the front. So I hope it will be not too long, the yellow, and that we can then gain some positions. But firstly, I will try to save my truck and go not too much risk, because we don't fight for the first position or for the podium, only maybe P10 or P9, and there are not so much points. So first goal is to let the truck in one piece.
Last weekend was very frustrating for you. What is a goal you wanted to achieve this weekend? When you say, okay, this was a good weekend for me?
Yeah, the whole season is a little bit difficult, you know, because we all the time try to find the right setups for the truck. We try to make something new with the truck, but we don't understand everything till now. And we don't have too much training or too much test opportunities. So it's only the race weekends when we can try something. And we didn't find out not everything till now. So we are searching for the best setup all the time. And also all the time you have these conditions, you know, when you never know when you go out, is it dry or is it will be rain, so it makes also difficult for us. So we're still searching, and then also was some bad luck already 4 races where I had to drive with only 3 tires on the rear, because it was in the first lap already one hit, and then the rim and the tire was destroyed, and then you don't have any chance to fight. You can only try to make your race, bring it to the end, but it's no chance to make a good position. So we just hope now today and the next races will be a little bit better, and yeah.
Okay, all the best to you, and stay safe with this weather. Back to you.
Yes, indeed, René Rayner just looking to survive this race effectively. And to be honest, I don't think that that's a bad idea, being honest with you. Here's our wonderful Ford F-Max International Truck of the Year 2019. You know the numbers by now. Over 5 million kilometers of road testing, over 15,000 hours, consisting of more than 20, flipping heck, over 200 prototype units. And it was designed and tested over a 5-year period. And it is this year's official truck of the FIA European Truck Racing Championship. And we look forward to seeing if any teams do develop their racing trucks from the Ford F-Max. Very sleek looking design as well, especially with the headlights, the way the LED strips curve down around the bottom of the light. Lovely stuff. Obviously taking it a lot more tentatively this time round due to the wet conditions. But let's face it, everybody would, wouldn't they? Not sure if our racing drivers will, though. We've got a bit of standing water here and there as well. You can see there's not a definite dry line all the way down that back straight. There's quite a lot of standing water on the left-hand side. And I believe there's quite a bit of standing water in the next chicane. Yes, you can see it there on the left-hand side. That's right where the guys are going to be braking. Just there. And that is not going to be easy to navigate. A lot of the time in wet weather racing, you will see drivers hanging it around the outside to make sure they keep their wet tyres nice and cool and keep plenty of water running through them. But the Ford F-Max now almost completing its lap of the circuit. So a quick outline of the procedure that we're going to follow here for the start of this race. As mentioned by René Reiner, we're going to have a yellow flag lap basically, with no overtaking allowed. There'll be one lap behind the pace truck as normal, then one lap of the race under yellow, which will count towards the race total, and that's when the race director will decide whether or not we're going to go green for the following lap or abort the race and bring people in. So the F-Max makes its way back into the paddock now, towering over any barrier or anything else that dares to try stand in its way. And you can see all of the lights now on the front of these trucks as well. They don't have the headlights where they'd normally have them. They have lights inside the cab and in the windscreens. Looks like Norbert Kisch's lights are flickering a lot, but I believe that's just what they call the refresh rate on the LEDs, which often doesn't quite match the rate that cameras capture frames. So it always looks like LEDs like that are flashing in a crazy manner. You can see from here, from this camera, they are pretty much solid. So in just a moment, after all the horns have been sounded, our Iveco S-Way pace truck will lead the field away in these wet conditions. The Bio-LNG ready Iveco S-Way, part of one of the many fantastic partnerships that the ETRC and the ETRA has towards making the series carbon neutral by 2038 at the latest. And there it goes. In rather warbly fashion, makes his way away from the line. And now the trucks follow on. Green flag waved at the front. And bit by bit, they will all make their way around the circuit. For the first of 2 laps at a reduced pace. Obviously, this is the usual lap that we'd have. But look at the spray. There is quite a lot of it at the moment. Now these trucks have a lot of surface area that hits the ground and disturbs the water, lifting it up into the air. They're not the most aerodynamic things, so they do throw a lot of it around. Norbert Kisch doing a bit of weaving, potentially trying to get some temperature in the tyres, but also just feeling how the road is underneath him. Because while you can just say, yes, it's wet, drivers have a different feel for how wet. And there you go, at the bottom of your screen there, the Iveco S-Way is powered by Bio-LNG, going hand in hand with the black smoke rule in the championship, where if your truck is emitting a lot of black smoke, then you can be pulled in and told off because the emissions are not what this championship is about. Norbert Kish kicking the back end of his truck out there for a moment. Again, just testing how the traction gets put down into the road. And all of them, I feel, will just be a little bit careful on these opening laps. You can see that the weather isn't really showing any signs of changing anytime soon. It's going to take a long old time for this standing water to dry up and disappear. There is our Iveco S-Way making its way through the double right at Garage Vet, down the back straight towards Chemin aux Buffs. Now here is your grid. Stefan Faas on the front row alongside Jamie Anderson. Shane Brereton and Adam Lachko make up row 2. Then we have Sasha Lenz and Norbert Kish, with Antonio Albacete and Jochen Hahn, the old boys that are in form, as Antonio said in his earlier interview. Luke Garrett will start 9th ahead of Andrei Kurzim, with Louis Requenco 11th ahead of Henrik Clemens Hecker. The back row of the grid will be Steffi Halm, who finished a bit further down after a drive-through penalty in the first race, and René Reiner makes his debut for this weekend from 14th on the grid. So through the chicane they go down towards the S du Garage Bleu, or S du Garage Bleu, as it's potentially pronounced. And our very wonderful, bright and colourful, beautifully presented field makes its way towards us. You can see just how bright those lights are as well inside the cab, and of course the blue lights on the top of the Porsche at the back of the field. But you can expect a very tame start here from Stefan Faas. Obviously under yellow flags, so there will be no overtaking for the first lap. Makes his job a little bit easier at this point. And now they will start to filter into a single file formation, I imagine. So from the grandstand then, this is the wonderful view of these powerful monsters making their way down the straight. And there you go, Stefan Faas leading them, then Jamie Anderson second, Shane Brereton and Adam Lachko. Then it's Sasha Lenz, Norbert Kish, Antonio Albacete and Jochen Hahn. Luke Garrett is next up with Andrei Kurzim. Now look at that, understeer wide through Dunlop curve into the chicane. This is their first opportunity to push a little bit harder and just feel how that road is when you try and put the power down. You try and get hard on the brakes. Steam and all sorts coming flying off the trucks. They're still having to cool down those brakes, and Stefan Faas has to cool his attitude down into Virage de la Chapelle. That was very, very lively into there, way too hot. Luckily, it doesn't end up in the gravel or off the road. And it's been updated now to a minimum of 2 laps under yellow. So we'll have to stay in these conditions for a little bit longer, unfortunately. But at the end of the day, safety is the main aim of the game. Can hear them blipping the throttle as they go down through the gears. They just do not look like they want to turn in as well. The drivers are a bit sort of steady, I should say, and a bit weary on the steering lock. They don't quite want to chuck it in as hard. They need to just feel for where the grip is. They need to take their time. Stefan Faas staying in the middle of the road there where it's clearly driest, but he's kicking up spray either side of him in a massive rooster tail. But one of the benefits of these trucks, I suppose, is while the spray is massive, all of the drivers are very elevated, so they get a decent view on most accounts of what's going on in front of them. They're not low slung and almost sat on the floor looking down the nose of an open wheel Formula car, or even sat low down in a touring car. You know, these drivers are very, very high up in their cabs. And the race is effectively on, so We just need to wait and see what the organisers make of it after one more of these yellow flag laps. Stefan Fast still leading. Antonio Albacete runs a little bit wide as opposed to Jochen Hahn. They are still at some sort of race pace, albeit a little bit reduced. But look at the spray there. You can't even see the other end of the straight, even with the rain lights as well. Cannot see all of the trucks. It's pretty daunting. Everybody doing a good job so far at just keeping things nice and safe, nice and sedate. Well, as sedate as driving a racing truck can be. That's one of the biggest amounts of standing water on the circuit, is down there into Virage de la Chapelle. The water will be almost running down the hill and sort of having the truck skate along the top of it, so it can't be easy. There's what is only a tiny bit of the view from Norbert Kisch. And the number 64 truck, which is Louis Requenco, has been told to put his lights on. But look at that. It may be easier to see in person if you're Norbert Kisch, but our camera lens getting well and truly spattered there with water. I think Louis Requenco does have his lights on, but they're just not very bright. He's got these strips in the front of the bodywork which are lit up, but nowhere near as bright as everybody else's. Through the chicane once again, and fingers crossed we will get a green lap, a green flag I should say, next time round. Only a handful more corners to go and we'll find out. There's Rene Rayner still at the back, still hanging on. And here we go then, green flag racing is underway. So Stefan Fast leads them round the final corner, puts his foot down with a big, beautiful slide. And you're going to see more of that from this camera angle as well. Everybody piles the power down, and we're away. The 14th race this season in the FIA European Truck Racing Championship gets officially up to full volume here at Le Mans. Stefan Fast from Jamie Anderson and Shane Brereton. Latchko fourth, then Sasha Lenz, then Norbert Kisch, Antonio Albacete, Jochen Hahn, Luke Garrett and Andre Kurzim. Now that the drivers are pushing a bit harder, who's going to push too hard? Well, there you go, there's your answer. Heinrich Clemens-Hacker overdoing it up through the Dunlop curve into the chicane, somehow still makes the chicane. Fair play to him. Drivers, now that they're close together, will want to make every little moment count, and they'll really be pushing. I think Jochen Hahn's just sent it into the side of Antonio Albacete. Looked like there was contact between the two. They should just be behind Norbert Kisch, and yes, Antonio's way out wide and Jochen is in front of him. Jochen, I think in excitement, has flicked his indicator on, maybe saying, I'll get out of your way and give that position back. We know Jochen can be a great sportsman, he's a really top bloke. Steffi Halm now ahead of Heinrich Clemens-Hacker. Now here's the battles at the front, and look at that, Adam Latchko down the inside of Shane Brereton. Lenz in there as well, there is Hahn and Albacete. Antonio around the outside, has to slot in behind, but you can't even see what's going on ahead, really. I could see it was Norbert Kisch trying to get involved with Shane Brereton. Now he's in front of Shane already, so Shane's dropped 3 places on this lap alone. And he's got Stefan Fast and Jamie Anderson in the Goodyear Cup right at the front of the race now. So he's got 3 trucks between himself and his Chrome category rivals. That won't go down well. But it was just one of those moments where as soon as you lose one position, you just get absolutely freight trained and lose position after position. Now, battle for the lead then. Jamie Anderson is trying it on Stefan Fast. Not quite sure where he got the run to do that. He's giving him everything. There's a bit of contact. You can hear the crowd roaring. The announcer at the circuit going absolutely supersonic. More contact. Big sideways slide from Jamie Anderson. And Adam Lachko is going to suddenly join in the party here. Adam Lachko is going to try and get a win off these pair. And he's actually ahead of Anderson. He got the run on him out of the final corner. So it's Stefan Fass in the very boxy Scania that still leads the way. But he's got some daylight between him, well, not that you can see through it, and Adam Lachko. Now what can Anderson do to try and get him back? We know how great Jamie is behind the wheel and how feisty he can be. He's having a look one way and then he's going to try and look the other through the chicane. I think Stefan Fass has had an issue in the chicane there. It looked like he went in very deep indeed. Sasha Lenz has had to get on to the right-hand side, spinning up the rears, and I think Lachko's got the lead. He has. Adam Lachko has taken the lead. Stefan Fass made a mistake, went too hot into the chicane. Jamie Anderson's there with him, and look at Norbert Kish round the outside of all of them. Not going to quite work out there. Norby needs to be careful of the penalty markers. Those poor things. Now, Lachko leads then. Anderson second. Sasha Lenz is going for third on Stefan Fass. He's round the outside. Is he going to hang that round there? Surely not. You know what? I think he has. Go on, Sasha. Oh, it looked like there was a bit of argy-bargy there between Garrett and Kurzim. A bit further back. And Sasha Lenz has indeed made it work around the outside. So, almost identical livery to Jamie Anderson's truck. Just one on the green, one on the black. And now Norby's trying his hand, overtaking Stefan Fass. Stefan says, not in your life. Shoves him out wide, and through they go. Now, Lenz can see that Lachko's getting away in front. He needs to get ahead of Jamie Anderson, and I think he's just done that. With that run off the double right-hander, he has. So Sasha Lenz now up into second place. It's all change on this lap. Great action at the front, but Stefan Fass has dropped from first to fourth. Lachko now leads from Lenz, then Jamie Anderson leads the Goodyear Cup. Stefan Fass having to defend so hard from Norbert Kish. But Norbert's late on the brakes, he's round the outside, and that's going to be the inside for the next part of the chicane if he can stick it there. Sasha's trying to tell him no, but in different words. A little bit of a contact moment there, I think. Now Stefan's a bit later onto the brakes into the final double right. I'm really not sure how they get trucks through there too wide, but they've managed it one way or another. Norby turns in, says, go on, get over there. That's where the apex is. Stefan leans on him a little bit on the exit. Looks like Jochen Hahn has got ahead of Shane Brereton just behind them. But wow, what fantastic racing here in the FIA European Truck Racing Championship. Norbert Kish has lost one of his wing mirrors on his right-hand side. That could be detrimental to his race. So close to making contact through the Dunlop curve. I really don't know how they've done that and got through there in one piece. Looks like Norby's gone a little bit hotter into there, but Stefan left the room. Nice and respectful stuff from Stefan Fass. Now, Norbert trying to get the power down to go chasing after Jamie Anderson. Looks like he's just across the Atlantic Ocean there. Or should we say the English Channel. Fass has got Jochen Hahn behind him. Hahn has made up 2 places from where he started, overtaking Antonio Albacete and then Shane Brereton, who's very sideways out of the right-hander. Norbert Kish looked like he went in a little bit deep there. Well, Stefan's had to work hard for this. Shows you how quickly a race can change, though, first to fifth in a lap and a half. And Lenz is right with Lachko now. Kish is right with Anderson. And Hahn is right with Fass. And then behind them, Albacete is right with Brereton. So all of these duos. Then we've got Garrett and Kurzim as well. Everybody coupling up. Like Love Island, but in the rain. Now, what's Norby going to do here? He's not trying anything yet on Jamie Anderson. He's very close to the back of him. Now, he's going to be wary of this because these two had some comings together at Zolder as well, which they had some big slaps on the wrist for. But look at the traction that Norbert Kish got there. It was like he was racing in the dry and Jamie was racing in the wet. And he's down the inside and he's already cleared him. Incredible stuff from Norbert Kish. He just has this commitment and this aggression in the way he drives that he can just force that truck to do exactly what he wants it to do. That MAN is such a fantastic machine for him. There across the line though is Adam Lachko, race leader, ahead of Sasha Lenz. More battles further down. Jochen Hahn right behind Stefan Fass. Seems our cameraman has found some good shelter up there. Shelter with a view. What more could you want? And Jochen Hahn backs off a little bit early there from Stefan Fass, and with good reason. Stefan's gone in too hot. And Jochen is surely going to take advantage of that. I don't think he's close enough to, actually. Doesn't look like it as they go over at the crest of the hill. But the six-time champion pushing very hard indeed to make sure that his earlier result is backed up with another good one. He doesn't want his rivals to disappear over the horizon. The likes of Norbert Kish, Sasha Lenz, all in front of him in the championship, and in front of him in the race is Fass, but not for much longer, I don't think. Hahn looks down the inside. Stefan manages to hold the pace around the outside, keeps some really strong momentum there. Now he's going to defend the inside line. He's going to force Jochen to do this the hard way. He's really holding him up here. There's a big slide on the way into the corner for Jochen Hahn. I imagine a bit of a slide on the way out. No, nice and smooth. Both of them really smoothly getting the power down there. That just shows you the fantastic control these drivers have over these big, beastie machines. So Lachko, Lenz, Kish, and Jamie Anderson still leading the Goodyear Cup. Then it's this great battle that we get to see. You can see Jochen wrestling it on the exit of the corner just to try and get the power down that little bit earlier than Stefan. Turns to the apex a little bit earlier as well. Now there is an incident between trucks 11 and truck 88 apparently under investigation. I think that's supposed to say truck 86, which is Luke Garrett. We don't have a truck 88 in the FIA European Truck Racing Championship. Oh, a bit of a slide there from Stefan Fass as he puts his foot down. But whatever incident that was, it is now under investigation. Now look at Jochen Hahn. I think he's just about got alongside Stefan Fass. Has he? Don't think he has. No, he's not. Just missing out on the overlap at the moment. Stefan knows where the grip is now on the way up to the chicane. It's just he's defending that inside line, and I think he keeps overshooting it slightly. And there is no further action, as you see at the bottom of your screen there. Thanks to Smart Witness, of course, for helping sort out a lot of the judges' decisions, as I like to call them. And now there's a decision made by Jochen Hahn, and that's that he's going to overtake Stefan Fass. Nearly contact. How they didn't touch one another there, I do not know, but that was incredibly close. But now, oh, there's definitely contact there, as the penalty markers get sent absolutely flying. I can imagine Stefan won't be too chuffed with that one, but I'm sure he's had worse contact. Jochen Hahn then into 5th position, needs to go after Jamie Anderson now. He needs championship points. Still Adam Lachko leads though. Lenz 2nd, Norbert Kish still 3rd. Oh, and Jamie Anderson's made a bit of a dog's dinner of that there. He goes a little bit deep. Makes a good exit though, so he keeps the momentum up at least. Now Kish doing what he did in the earlier race as well, just ducking out of the slipstream slightly, just making sure that he's got clean air going to the front of that truck. Stefan Fass now just trying to see what opportunities he has around him. He's got a couple of seconds back to Shane Brereton now that Jochen Hahn has disappeared up the road. Here is Norbert Kish though, all over Sasha Lenz. He's got no seconds anywhere really around him right now. Let's see what differences there are in terms of the traction out of here, because it always seems like Norbert Kish gets a good run. Now Sasha Lenz actually gets a good run. compared to Adam Lachko. Let's see what the pace difference is as they go through the first corner. You can see how reflective it is now. It's actually going sort of dark here at Le Mans. We're on lap 8 out of 11. We're nearly done with this race already. It's flown by. But Sasha Lenz still trying everything he can on Adam Lachko. You can see the very different shape of these two trucks. The Bagheera Racing Freightliner and the SL Truck Sport MAN, which is now having to go defensive all of a sudden. It's one of those horrible moments for Sasha Lenz where you start attacking the driver in front of you and suddenly you find yourself defending from the guy behind, and that guy behind is the championship leader, Norbert Kish, the one person that nobody wants to have chasing them down right now. Look at that cutback by Norbert. That was amazing. Fantastic run out of the long right-hander. Can he stay around the outside? I don't think Sasha knew he was there. Moves over slightly. Norby sounds the horn, as we've heard him do so many times this season, in disgust. Now he tries to get a cutback. Off the throttle, on the throttle on it again. Gets alongside. Fantastic run by Norby. It was me, I'd be giving him hand signals out the window. And he's in front. He's done it. Great move by Norbert Kish. Him and Sasha Lenz came together in qualifying. We didn't want a repeat of that. And looks like Sasha, to be honest, thought judgment is the better part of valour. Discretion is the better part of valour, whatever the phrase is, in that moment in time. Now, Adam Lachko would have hoped that that battle lasted a bit longer so that he had a bit more of a healthy gap out at the front of the field, but no. Sorry, Adam. Now, let's not forget, Adam has taken 2 race wins so far this season. And he's hoping for another one in this race. He's in a good position to do it. Now, there is Andre Kurzim just ahead of Luke Garrett in truck 86, the MV commercial truck racing team. Steffi Halm just behind them. Steffi not having a great time so far. Obviously that drive-through penalty earlier on hindered her first race. Everybody's made their way through there. And Steffi wants more positions. Rene Reina just ahead of Louis Riquenco, who's having a right old slide through the left-hander there on the exit of S2 Garage Bleu. 8 laps completed though, on to lap 9 out of 11. 3 laps to go. And there is the 86, chasing down Andre Kurzim. Another race winner from this season as well as Andre. Andre won a race at Autodrom Most after a fantastic battle with Norbert Kish, who is up there once again. Trying everything he can. Still fantastic battles all the way up and down the order. Just wait to see now if there's any changes in this middle battle. There's a bit of bodywork flapping around by the look of it off the 86 there. And there's a bit of Norbert Kish flapping around all over the back of Adam Lachko. I believe I'm mistaken as well, by the way. I think Adam Lachko's only won 1 race this season, sorry. Oh, you can hear the wheel spin on these things. We've got such loud engines and such massive tyres that you get a real squeal from it as the drivers put the power down. Look at the way that Lachko just doesn't even bother defending the inside line. He just knows exactly where he needs to put the truck. We've seen Adam defending before, and he's a very, very wily racer. He knows exactly where he needs to be. He'll know how aggressive Norby's prepared to be to make this move, but you can be sure Adam's going to do his very best to defend. The Freightliner just holding on ahead of the MAN. All 3 of them then head on to lap 10 of 11. 2 laps to go. And yeah, sorry, I'm not quite sure where I got the second win from for Adam Lachko, but I can confirm he's only won one race this year. So this could be his second. Maybe I wrote 2 down in anticipation of Adam doing well. He won his last one in the wet as well. Here's a statistic for you though. So far this season, Norbert Kish has won at least 2 races at every race meeting. There you go. So he's not won one of them yet. Is he going to win this one? Is he going to have enough in the tank to make a move on Adam Lachko? Or is Sasha Lenz going to be able to capitalise on this battle and suddenly come through to take a victory? Kish goes around the outside, very deep, very wide. Tries to get a cutback, it's not going to work. Lachko's going a bit deep himself. You can see Lenz just sliding the back end there, but the way Norbert is moving that truck around shows you how hard he's pushing. He's not letting off whatsoever. Tries it around the outside of Lachko once again. Can he keep the truck there and make Adam cut the line off? No. Can he get a cutback though and get along the right-hand side? Floors it, gets the traction down, and again you see him change up a gear. It's still wheel spinning. Adam is forced to go over to the left-hand side. He has to cover it off this time. He cannot risk it. Moves all the way over to the right-hand side now. Onto the brakes. Trying to keep it nice and steady. There's a bit of a combination right now of using the drying line for a bit more grip, but also keeping those tyres nice and cool by using the wet part of the road. Adam's going to park it right in the middle now. Norbert tries to slither around the outside. He did this to Stefan Fast earlier on. Is he going to be able to do it? Looks like he's gone a little bit too hot. But can Lachko get back in front? Doesn't look like it. He's around the outside now. A little bit of contact between the two. Norbert gets out of it. Lachko still holds on, moves across and defends the inside line at the final corner. Looks like he might have gone a bit deep, kicks the back end out. One more lap to go here at Le Mans for race 2. Oh, big slide by Adam, big slide by Norby. Now watch Sasha Lenz in the black and green number 30 SL Truck Sport machine. Where can he come from? Jochen Hans made it up to 4th place, by the way, ahead of Jamie Anderson. But this is the last lap of the race. Lachko from Kish from Lenz. The incredible pace that they carry around the first corner here. All 3 of them in shot together like that. Looks absolutely phenomenal. Norbert looks to the inside, nothing there. Forced to go back out wide, focus on his own line. And Lachko still pushing. Doing everything he can to stay in front. Now we know it's the middle sector here where Norbert is very, very fast. Using all of the way out wide to try and build up some pace on the exit and get the good run up the hill. Adam seemed to struggle a little bit with traction there, the back end moving around a lot. I think Norbert's got alongside him, you know, he's almost in front of him. Turns in very late to the hairpin, carries the speed around there. He's going to be on the outside if he makes that work. And I think he just about has, gets a fantastic launch off the corner. But now Lachko's on the outside. What can he do? Because we've not seen Norbert make that work yet. Can Adam do it? Hard on the brakes they go. It looks like they're almost racing at night. It's gone that dark now. Lachko does hang it around the outside. Norbert has to take a tighter line through the second part of the right-hander. Adam's on the wetter part of the circuit on the exit, and Norbert's in front. Norby's completely cleared him, and Kish takes the lead. Amazing racing between these two. Now, will Lachko come back at him? But look at the gap. The gap is already massive. Norbert's absolutely flown in front of him there. Sasha Lenz all over the back of Adam Lachko now. And then suddenly he closes back up behind the Reveche Racing machine of Norbert Kish. But look at that wide line. He takes a really wide line through the right, gets it tucked in properly for the left. And it just doesn't seem like anybody can get near him there. He lights up the rears a little bit. But into the second to last corner, the crowd is going mad for it. But Norbert Kish, phenomenal performance once again. And for the 7th time this season, Norbert Kish is a race winner in the FIA European Truck Racing Championship. Great performances by Adam Lachko and Sasha Lenz get them a podium as well. Jochen Hahn finishes in 4th. And 5th place goes the way of Jamie Anderson, who wins the Goodyear Cup in that race. finishing just ahead of Stefan Fast, Shane Brereton. Antonio Albacete finished 8th after starting 7th. That was not ideal for him. Andre Curzin will be 9th, and rounding out the top 10 will be Luke Garrett. As there we see Requenco crossing the line, and I believe rounding out the field, actually Heinrich Clemens Hecker will be at the back. But there is your race winner, Norbert Kisch. Wow, what a drive that was. Now, drivers often say that they love it when you can come through the order to take a race win, and well, there's Norby celebrating. That one will be very special indeed. And here we go. I absolutely love that they do this. Look at the control there. That's a 5-ton truck that Norbert Kisch is balancing with the throttle, which puts 1,200 horsepower and 5,000 Newton meters of torque through those rear wheels. Amazing vehicle control. You can see the windscreen wiper working just as hard as Norby did in that race as well. And Truck 41 takes its 7th race win out of 14 races. I said partway through the race, every race meeting this season, Norbert has won at least 2 races. And he's on his way to do that again. Adam Lachko, though, that is Adam's 9th podium of the season. And he was 2nd in the championship coming into this race meeting. And there's still a very high chance that he'll be there right now. Norbert putting on a show for the crowd, though. He's good at that. He's definitely one of the most, if not the most exciting driver to watch in the series. Not just in terms of his ability and his pace, but his drifting as well. Look at that. Honestly. Look at it. Look at it. The crowd love it. I'm not surprised. Absolutely incredible. Very, very well-deserved win, that, for Norbert Kisch. Worked incredibly hard on that one. Started 6th on the grid, made up some good places early on, and then just picked them off one by one. He just had superior pace, and that's the thing. His race pace is just incredible. Really incredible. The team have done an amazing job with that truck all season. From the very first qualifying session, it looked mentally potent. And he's done it again. Steady on, son. You're about to see a very happy man emerge from that truck, and well, that's a very happy man indeed. The team over the moon with another race win. Certainly helps them in the championship, doesn't it? Doesn't exactly make things worse. Sasha Lenz there just pulling in on the right-hand side of your shot. And oh dear. That's not what you'd call good. Sasha installing a sprinkler system on the front of his truck, it seems. I do sincerely hope that that is just water that's coming out of there, and that it's not too hot either. That will be mopped up by officials, I'm sure. Now Norby has to squeeze his way through between the two trucks. And there you hear it, Norby. Great stuff, really great stuff. It was a phenomenal drive. It's difficult enough to be on pole position and drive away at the front of a field, as we've seen Norbert do before, but to do that while coming through the pack in wet conditions as well, great stuff. Really, really great stuff. And those points will mean a lot in the championship. And a lot of Norbert's fans as well, who will be watching along on Facebook and on YouTube, will certainly be pleased with that as well. He has an immense following, does Norbert Kisch. And unsurprisingly as well, very talented driver. Very talented drifter, as you've seen as well. I love it, absolutely love it. The drivers all really play up to the spectacle of this championship. Everybody involved really embraces the spirit of it and has a lot of fun along the way. Norbert now just takes a moment to cool down a bit, because it will still be very, very hot despite the weather. It does get very, very warm inside any racing machinery. And just because these trucks are bigger doesn't mean that that is any different. I imagine it's a bit of a sauna in there. You can see it is actually starting to steam up slightly on the windscreen. There is Adam Lachko as well, who would eventually finish that race in second place, saying well done to Norby. And they discuss the moment where they had contact, and Adam, literally in his own words there, you heard him say, it's okay. And hopefully we should have Sasha Lenz around there somewhere. I believe he was over on the left-hand side with his team as well. But there was some very hard racing out there. There is Sasha Lenz, shakes hands with Norby, and I assume that he's saying, yeah, I didn't see you on the right-hand side, I had something on my window or whatever else. And you could see even Norbert there saying, oh, okay, fair enough. And that's the great thing, you know, these drivers all really do get on. No matter how fierce and how tight it gets out there on track, these drivers really do have some fantastic camaraderie. And I believe Chris will be there in just a moment. There he is, the superstar himself. And we'll hear from a couple of our drivers in just a moment.
What a battle. Who is now the real Rain King?
I think it's a nice battle. Today we have big trouble with the setup, and we try something and it's still not working on the wet condition, and we will see tomorrow. But I think it's a nice race for spectators and for us, I think, also.
How high is the adrenaline? Congratulations to this win.
Thank you. Yeah, it was great. Well, for sure today it was working for us better, and I'm still shaking a little bit because it was really exciting, because I could see that I can go faster and I could attack, but it's always difficult to overtake in the rain, and especially somebody like Adam, who is very good in the rain, and he was defending really well. But yeah, in the last lap there was the opportunity, you know, and on the outside in the rain it can work on the outside. So you know, I get the position on the outside and had a good exit. So yeah.
You tried to hold him, but there was no chance to keep him in the last corners.
Yes, because normally the truck working on the outside line, but today I try outside, inside, and everywhere it's slippery. I have problem with the brake, but I fight with my stuff, and I think it's good, and I'm happy.
Okay, congratulations to you both. Thank you very much. Good luck.
And there you go then, Norbert Kish takes another win this season. Adam Lachko, another podium, and so too for Sasha Lenz as well. That's his 7th podium of the season. Jochen Hahn is 4th ahead of Jamie Anderson. Stefan Faas is 6th with Shane Brereton in 7th place. Then it's Antonio Albacetti ahead of Andre Kurzim, and Luke Garrett rounds out your top 10. Behind them, Steffi Halm finishes 11th ahead of René Reiner, with Louis Requenco in 13th and Heinrich Clemens Hecker in 14th place. Worth a mention as well, Jamie Anderson takes the win in the Goodyear Cup with that 5th place finish. Shane Brereton will be 2nd in that category. Actually, apologies, no, Stefan Faas sneaking between the two of them actually as well. So despite Stefan starting on pole and losing a number of places early on, he's still got a 2nd place in class, which he will be really, really pleased with. And the fans absolutely packing the stadiums here at Le Mans as well, even with the rain. I'm sure they'll be very entertained after that one. You could hear them clapping and screaming and shouting and all sorts as that race came to an end with that immense battle in those last few chicanes. And now we will have the podium. And Sasha Lenz will take the 3rd step. Another great finish for Sasha. He's always there, isn't he? scoring points after points after points. He's had 2 race wins this season and 6 podium finishes. Before this one, Adam Lachko takes 2nd place and Norbert Kish taking the overall race win after a very hard-fought battle. He really is a fan favourite, is Norby.
Pour saluer la victoire de Norbert Kish à l'arrivée de cette course 2 dans le championnat d'Europe.
And if you wanted a very quick illustration of how happy Norbert Kish is, you've just had it in the last 10 seconds or so. A very happy and very well-deserving race winner once again. Some more beautiful silverware to go home with. And some great company on the podium there. Some of the real, pardon the pun, titans of this championship. They are all, of course, in the Titan class in the series. And now they will pose for photos with their trophies. There you go. Let's not leave Adam out, shall we? Love Adam's hat as well. Just a big respect hat. Love that. And now a little bit of champagne for them to end their day. Now they might get a little bit more soaked this time, but with 2 more races yet to go tomorrow, they won't be soaking each other yet. They don't want to sort the laundry out tonight. Norby absolutely soaking the team down below if they weren't drenched already from the rain. Oh, he thought about it there. He was going to soak our GoPro, wasn't he? He was going to soak our cameraman for a second there. But fortunately, he didn't. And that's another 2 races already done today in the FIA European Truck Racing Championship. The 13th and 14th races of the season. And we do it all again tomorrow, which I cannot wait for. We get another qualifying session, another Super Pole session, and then 2 races to go with it. And you never know, we could have mixed conditions, much like we've had today as well. And let's not forget as well our Goodyear Cup Podium, as the drivers will be making their way out in just a second. And 2 British drivers on the podium once again, 2 of the real stars of the show in this category. 3rd place going the way of Shane Brereton in the big purple Apollo branded number 17. And you'll see Shane in just a moment walking over from the left-hand side. And there's actually, interestingly, there's Teo Calvé in the number 20 truck making his way to the grid for the French Truck Racing Championship. He's in the fight for the title in that championship. And there, Alia Kolok as well, number 29. There is Shane Brereton, taking the 3rd step of the podium. And just behind the big Michelin stand, there he is, there's Stefan Fass. And then the winner in the Goodyear Cup in this race, Jamie Anderson, truck 33.
Goodyear Cup winner is Jamie Anderson.
And there you go, our Goodyear Cup drivers all celebrated in the best way they can be. A great podium, some wonderful trophies, and they'll get to spray the champagne in just a moment. They pose for their photos as well, with a change of the hats as well, I imagine. And we'll be having the champagne. The corks are popped and the champagne goes absolutely everywhere, except all over each other, which we'll see at the end of the weekend after race 2 tomorrow. A clink of the bottles. Well done, chaps. And a great afternoon's racing for all three of them. So in just a second, we'll have a quick look back then at how that race unfolded. And as you saw, the conditions did get better towards the end, but we started under yellow flag conditions behind our official pace truck, where we did 2 laps at a reduced pace just to make sure that everybody could take it nice and easy. The green flags came out, the wheel spin began, and drivers had to tiptoe their way around the opening laps, showing fantastic control as they went. Still carrying massive speed, maybe a little too much speed, through the Dunlop curb for Heinrich Clemens Hecker. He was chasing down Louis Requenco early on, while Anderson chased down Stefan Faas. A bit of contact into the final few corners wasn't enough to unsettle Stefan, but Anderson would lose out to Lachko down the straight, before Stefan would lose a number of positions in one lap. Unfortunately, a mistake at the first corner would just make things worse and worse. He held off Norbert Kish very briefly as Anderson and Lenz got away just in front. But before too long, Norbert Kish would get the run and have the momentum and overtake Stefan to make it up into 4th place. Norby was trying everything though to get even further up the order by going around the outside, eventually a tactic that would work for him in taking the lead later on. Jochen Hahn was next up at trying to get past Stefan Faas. He would get past after just a couple of laps. But then came the resurgence once again from Norbert Kish. Incredible pace, fantastic commitment, and great control as he overtook Jamie Anderson. While Stefan Faas still, over a couple of laps, held off Jochen Hahn. The two of them somehow not making contact here, but great respect between the two of them on the way down to Virage de la Chapelle. Not so much respect for the penalty markers though. Jamie Anderson made this little mistake on the way to Garage Vert, where he lost a bit of time to Jochen Hahn, who would later overtake him. And then Norbert Kish would overtake Sascha Lenz. The two of them having a great old dice, nearly a bit of contact between the pair, but Norbert would have second and be released to go chasing after Adam Lachko. Luke Garrett was involved in his own little battle with Steffi Halm behind, Andre Kurzim in front, while Jochen Hahn was still knocking on the door of Stefan Faas. Then the battle for the lead erupted. Norbert Kish trying everything to get past Adam Lachko, running around the outside, using the wet weather conditions to his advantage. It would work for him at Virage de Musée, as he carried a lot of pace around the long left-hander and forced Adam to have to use the narrower line. Once the move was made, there wasn't really anything that Adam could do to get back in front while having to defend from Sascha Lenz. Another race win on the belt of Norbert Kish. Great podiums for Lachko and Lenz, but the championship advantage swinging back the Hungarian way, as he showed us exactly how to drift a truck. Norbert celebrates with the team, very, very happy after a great day's work in the office. And two very familiar drivers on the podium with him this season, two real superstars in the championship. The top three of the championship coming into this race meeting were those guys. But as we look at things now, this is how the championship stands. Norbert Kish 19 points clear of Adam Lachko, who only has 3 points over Sasha Lenz. Antonio Albacete 4th, 7 points ahead of Jochen Hahn, with Theo Calve remaining 6th. Steffi Halm just 1 point back. 4 more points behind is Shane Brereton, with Andre Kurzim and Anthony Janiak rounding out your top 10 with 23 points. So it's all still to play for at the top. But thank you everybody for watching with me today, Chaz Draycott, and I believe we have final words from Chris, who is down in the paddock. I'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, that was a very exciting but a wet day. Can you tell us, congratulations first for the win for the second race in the Goodyear Cup. Can you tell us how difficult is it out there here in Le Mans when it's raining so heavily?
Yeah, we knew that it was going to be a bit of a problem. So we ended up pushing away with Staffen when the yellow light was off. So it gave us a bit of a gap, a bit of breathing space really. So we knew this was going to happen, so we just needed to keep calm, focused, and just let the faster boys try and learn off them where we could, and then just not make it so difficult and focus on what our target was, which was the Grammar Cup. So, but yeah, the weather is tricky, the track is tricky. You know, even here in the dry it struggles for grip, in the wet it's even worse. But you just have to try and keep focused and relaxed and go from there.
This is a weekend of opportunities because Theo Calve is not racing. What are your expectations? What do you think? What you can make this weekend?
I definitely hope to close a gap between us and me and them. I think this year so far we've had some good and some bad luck. New truck, so we struggled a little bit in some areas, but at the end of the day we're here still learning and we're still smiling, so as long as we can get closer on the points wise to Theo, then that'll be the main thing for us.
Thank you very much. So that was the first day here in Le Mans. A little bit wet at the end, but that was a very exciting races today, and see you tomorrow. Bye bye from here.